Come on, get in here. Get in here. Strengthen your soul is on. Come on in. We need you. Grab yourself a drink. Get your favorite drink. Get yourself a favorite drink. It's been a hard day. It's the middle of the week. We're in the midst of a crazy pandemic. It's time to talk about your soul. It's time to figure out how do we live healthy even in the midst of a world upside down. So get in here. Come on in and grab a drink. Tonight I'm having water, but it's in a special glass. I'll tell you the story of this glass. My wife, a few months before we got married, my father-in-law passed away. And this glass got like I think it's from Nova Scotia. It's got a sailboat on it. It was his. So tonight I'm drinking from a bit of a special glass. So as always, at 8 o'clock we open up. In about 30 seconds we take a drink. 8:02 we start. 8:10 we actually lean in. We go, how might I strengthen my soul? What activity might I do to see if the universe, to see if God, to see if Jesus. Again, when you speak of the universe, I believe you're talking about Jesus. You're just stretching out for him. But again, some of you aren't there yet. That's okay. But we lean in, we go, might there be a stronger soul for you and me? And here's the truth. 100% there is. 100%. And then we wrap up around 8:15, sometimes earlier, sometimes a couple minutes later. But that's our goal for the night. So with that being said, grab your drink and let's have a cheers. So cheers to you. Let's take together. So if you tuned in yesterday, you realize that we are now working through a bit of a series this week on emotions. Because one of the things that happens in life is basically, for most of us, our emotions are out of whack. At least some of them. Some of us, we feel way too much. We feel too much anger, too much. Our emotions are like a roller coaster, highs and lows. For others of us, we kind of don't feel anything at all. And part of what I want us to see, and part of what the teachings of Jesus was this, that to be fully human is to experience emotion in all of its breadth and also be in control of your emotions, not to be controlled by your emotions. So tonight we want to talk about how do you express envy. So envy is toxic to the soul, but envy usually is actually there's a inverse side of envy that's healthy. There's a healthy expression of what the envious heart is feeling. So let me give you a definition, and actually The Simpsons. I never really watched a ton of Simpsons, but I know a lot of people did. The Simpsons, Homer Simpson, actually gives an excellent description between envy, the contrast between envy, which is always bad, it's always evil, and we'll define them both, versus jealousy. So envy involves two people, and jealousy involves three people. And that's the big difference. So envy, what you need to know is this, that God, the universe, is never envious, but he is very often jealous. So let's talk about envy. And if you have envy, the goal is tonight to root some of it out and then to feel the proper jealousy that's actually really healthy. So envy looks like this. I'll give you some warning signs of envy, and I'm writing on a slant. So I'm just rolling with it tonight. Now, envy looks like this, competition. So we've all felt it when people are envious of us. So, you get I don't know, I'll give a few examples. Let's say you enter into a relationship. You were the single person for a long time and you enter into a relationship and you're really happy and all your friends are happy except for one. And they don't seem to be happy about it at all. It could be jealousy, but it's more likely envy. But we'll look at both. Envy where that person goes, I wish I was in a relationship. Or let's say you get a new car or a car that's new to you. And everybody's happy for you, but you got a friend who goes, I'm not happy. And you can tell they just go, I see you got a new car. Oh, red. Red. I didn't know you'd like a red car. Some people like red cars, but and they just steal all the joy because they're actually trying to compete with you. They're trying to outdo you. This can happen in work. This can happen uh, in layers of influence and leadership, education, income, fitness, you name it. Envy is this. It's competition, trying to outdo another person, and it's always toxic. Number two, another sign of envy. And this one's hard for me. You know those people in your life that you heard something amazing happen to them? You heard something, you're like, wow, they just won first place at the cucumber growing festival. And in your heart, you go, well, good for them. And it actually stirs up some anger. You ever have those people in your life? I do. There are people in my life, I mean, maybe not, cucumber growing competitions, but there are people in my life where when something good happens to them, I actually experience uh, an anger or a frustration or a disappointment, even just a low level one, that something good happened in their life. That is a clear sign of envy that you are made sad when somebody else experiences good. It's a clear sign of envy because envy is typically this. I'll give you the simple definition. Envy is wanting what someone else has. Wanting what someone else has. There's an old word for that. It's called coveting. And so it's about wanting what somebody else has, or at least wanting others not to have something good. And so it shows up in competition. It's sad at others' good. And number three, it typically shows up with people you consider your enemies. So even now, some of us, and even this political system, we're really sad when good things happen to people who disagree with us politically. Or we're very happy when bad things happen to them. Again, it's kind of an extension of this, uh, but it is sort of the happy when our enemies experience bad. Again, we're not talking about like justice. I'm talking about like simple, just thrilled when something unfortunate happens to somebody. So here's the question for reflection. Is there anyone you're envious of? Anyone you're envious of? Anyone you're envious of? I'll give you a couple steps on what to do. We'll dive into that. But 2 steps. How do you kill envy? 1, you do good. 2, you bless or encourage. If you bless or encourage those you're envious of, so you give them an honest, heartfelt compliment on something they've done, and you work your heart to a place where you go, and you're going to need to ask for help from the universe, from God, to let you do that sincerely. Or you can pray for them. Prayer is this going, God, would you do something good for them? Universe, would you be kind to them? Jesus, would you help them? Or you do good to them. You do a secret good deed. You help them. You you buy them lunch. It really does start to kill envy. Now let's talk about jealousy. Jealousy is between 3 people. And there is an expression of jealousy. You might call it just jealousy. That's a better one. Let's talk about just jealousy. So just jealousy is this. It's protective in a good way of loyalty. It's protective of loyalty. So for instance, uh, I'll use a couple like very classic examples. One is this. Uh, and here's the big idea. The father of your soul is very jealous for your soul. He wants to actually interact with you and spend time with you and know you and for you to know him above and beyond every other relationship because he's protective of your loyalty and he's loyal to you. So I'll use this example. I got three boys. I am highly, highly protective of my relationship with them. What I mean by that is this. Uh, they're kids at my children's school. Obviously, it's not in right now due to coronavirus, COVID-19, all that fun stuff, who are bad influences on my children. They are. And they show up anywhere. It could be public school, private school, could be even homeschool. You go to the park and there's some kid who's influencing your kid. Here's the big idea. I want to have such a close relationship with my children that my voice speaks louder than the voice of those who would corrupt them. You could also be protective of loyalty with coworkers, people you're working together with who you belong together. Like you belong in the same organization, you have the same mission, and you want to protect that. There's a jealousy you have. And so you protect that. Same with friends. You might have friends where you go, I don't want to stop my friends from making more friends, but I actually want to protect our friendship because sometimes somebody can sneak in and start trying to edge you out. Uh, this is obviously most clear in like uh, marriages, romantic partnerships, etc. So there's a good jealousy, there's a just jealousy. It's protective. Number two, it's about drawing closer together. So again, this is the healthy jealousy. This is the just jealousy. So it's about drawing closer in relationship, not excluding others. Not excluding others. So one of the things that is very common, one of the aspects of life that's very common is this. We're going to ask this question: who do I undervalue? And then, who am I envious of? So those are our reflection questions. Man, I'm really sideways tonight, but whatever. So we're going to pause, we're going to think, we're going to pray, we're going to ask that the universe, that God, that Jesus would actually speak to us and show us who we're envious of. And then we're going to either do good or bless them and encourage them. And hear me, if you do not do, so when you pray and you go, hey, God, I'm trying to figure out if you're even out there. Trying to figure out if you have strength for my soul. You said you have rest, Jesus. I'll put you to the test and trust you more and more, but you got to prove yourself. Hear me. If you have a thought pop into your mind while you're thinking about this, reflecting about someone you're envious of, and then you do not do good to them, or you do not bless them, or you do not encourage them, you will not have your soul strengthened. See, part of what we're trying to do is open ourselves up and go, is there peace for our soul? And that comes, honestly, that does come from the Father of your soul, God in heaven. But if we do not do our part, if we do not do our part, then we will not be able to actually experience the strengthening. There's a part that God does and a part that we do. So we must do our part. Number two, we're just going to ask a simple question: who do I undervalue? If there's somebody in your life that you have a great relationship with, but it's starting to fall away because maybe you're being drawn away by something else or someone else, today God might go, spend more time with them, care for them. So let's just pause and think of this. So, who am I envious of? God, who am I envious of? Just think and don't defend yourself. It's one of the ways we don't experience change. And for me, again, because I want to keep some distance between people, like anonymity, that's the word I'm looking for. There's a mentor in my life who I have been envious of, and I know how to bless and encourage them. I know actually how to help them real tangibly. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that tonight. And then who do I undervalue? I've got a very good friend, a long-term friend in my life that I just haven't spent enough time with. really care about them deeply, and I just need to have them over. So, with that being said, I hope your soul's getting stronger. I hope tonight you found somebody you might be envious of so you can reject that. And then a relationship where there should be a little bit of just jealousy, where you go, I want to be closer. I want to be protective of our loyalty, of the best thing that we have, because I care about you and I care about it. So, that being said, I hope your soul's getting stronger. I hope you're feeling more connected with God and with others. And I'd love to just pray a quick blessing for you. Here's the prayer. May your relationships that are gifts from God above be strengthened. And may your soul find rest today. Amen. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, or subscribe. Would also love a favor from you. Uh, if you could message me, I've got this week sort of planned out, but I don't have anything beyond that. If you could message me some aspects of the soul that you'd love to hear about, or just comment, that would be tremendously helpful. With that being said, look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Strengthen your soul. Have a great night.